And just like that, the forest sighed for the first time in 100 years, and the stars blinked awake one by one as if someone had quietly turned the sky back on, and the village finally slept. That's how the story ends, not with noise or glory, but with peace, with a silence so warm and gentle it wrapped around the world like a blanket. But before the sigh, before the stars, and before the sleep, there was Clara. She was quiet, like you are now still, listening, waiting. Some say the forest chose her because she still believed in soft things like lullabies, stardust, and whispered bedtime stories. But Clara wasn't a hero. She was just tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, but the kind that comes from holding too much inside quiet worries, unspoken dreams, long nights that never end. Maybe you know that feeling. Maybe that's why you're here. And maybe, like Clara, you've whispered that secret wish into the dark. Please, just let me sleep tonight. What she didn't know was that the forest had been listening all along. So, tonight, if you'll let me, I'll take you there to the very beginning, just beyond the orchard, where the moonlight curved like a ribbon, and the trees swayed as if they remembered your name. Back to the moment Clara stepped into the forest of dreams, where every path led deeper into a hush, and the air itself whispered her forward. Because when the world forgets how to sleep, all it takes is one soul brave enough to follow the quiet. So close your eyes now and let's begin. Long ago, nestled in the arms of rolling hills and crooked apple trees, there was a village that had forgotten how to sleep. The sun would dip beneath the horizon each evening, just like it always had, but the night brought no rest. The houses stayed dimly lit, candles burning low, and the people, well, they just waited. Eyes open, hearts heavy, wrapped in blankets that couldn't warm them. They didn't speak much anymore, not because they were angry or afraid, but because they were tired, so very tired. Children stopped dreaming. Elders stared at the sky, searching for stars that never came, and clocks ticked through endless hours, unnoticed, unwanted. No one knew why the sleep had gone. It hadn't left all at once. It had faded quietly, like a memory you can almost recall, but never quite hold. And though no one said it out loud, they all felt it. Something in the world had shifted, like a breath held too long, and so the village waited, not for a cure or for a miracle, but simply for a moment when someone, anyone, might remember how to dream again. Clara was not the kind of girl people noticed, at least not in the way that mattered. She was quiet, soft-spoken, always watching the wind twist through tree branches or the way light danced on puddles after rain. But unlike the rest of the village, Clara still believed in small, impossible things. Each night, while others stared into darkness, Clara wandered to the edge of the orchard behind her home. That's where it happened. One evening, as the wind settled and the sky turned the color of lavender tea, she saw something strange, a faint shimmer between two trees. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat, like it was waiting. Clara stepped closer, bare feet silent in the grass, and as she did, the shimmer widened into a path. It wasn't made of dirt or stone, but of something glowing pale, silver light that moved like ribbon underwater. She didn't think, she didn't need to. Something inside her whispered, "Go." And without a word, Clara stepped forward, leaving behind the sleepless village and walking into the unknown, into the forest of dreams. The moment Clara stepped past the orchard, everything changed. The air grew cooler, thick with the scent of lavender and moss. The light no longer came from the moon, but from the forest itself, glowing softly from beneath leaves, twinkling along the edges of petals, even rising gently from the earth like silver mist. The trees were tall and ancient, their bark deep violet and smooth to the touch. But what struck Clara most wasn't the beauty, it was the silence. Not empty silence, This silence had weight, like it was holding its breath with her. Her footsteps made no sound, even the breeze moved carefully, brushing her skin like a lullaby. The deeper she walked, the more the forest seemed to welcome her, not with words, but with softness. Ferns parted just before her feet. Fireflies lit her way in pairs, as if guiding her toward something she had forgotten she needed. And though her heart beat a little faster, Clara felt something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Safe, not from harm, but from heaviness. The forest didn't ask anything of her, it simply let her be. And as she walked deeper still, Clara began to wonder, had this place always been here, just waiting for someone to remember it? Clara followed the glowing path until it faded beneath a wide, arching tree with leaves like falling feathers. Perched high among its limbs was a white owl, still as a statue, with eyes like pools of ink. It turned its head slowly, watching her not with suspicion, but with knowing. Then, without flapping its wings, the owl drifted down like it was floating on sleep itself. It landed on a crooked branch just above her shoulder and spoke in a voice softer than breath. "To find the dreams, child, you must seek the heartwood tree." Clara blinked, unsure if the voice was real or part of the hush inside her mind. "But beware," the owl added, its head tilting slowly. "It is guarded by silence itself." Clara whispered, "Where is it?" But the owl only looked at her kindly and said nothing more. With a slow blink, it turned, took to the air, and vanished into the trees. Clara stood still for a long moment, the silence thick around her again. Then, heart steady and full of wonder, she continued deeper into the forest toward the dreams that waited. After walking through a corridor of whispering willows, Clara came upon a small pond, so still it looked like glass. The surface reflected not just her face, but something deeper, like feelings or moments she'd forgotten. She knelt beside it, and the pond shimmered slightly, as though it had been waiting. When she whispered, "Why can't we sleep anymore?" The pond responded, not in words spoken aloud, but in soft ripples that echoed back. "Because you've forgotten wonder." Clara's breath caught. She asked again, "Where did our dreams go?" And the pond whispered back, "They're kept safe until someone remembers how to see." The water glowed faintly now, and when Clara touched it, a single drop lifted into the air, spinning like a tiny star. It hovered above her palm before dissolving into light. She smiled not because she fully understood, but because something inside her stirred, something small and warm, like the beginning of a dream. The pond gave no more answers, but Clara didn't need them. She stood, calmer now, and followed the path as it curved away into deeper hush. The path narrowed and softened beneath Clara's feet until it no longer felt like walking on earth at all. It was like stepping on clouds stitched with velvet. Each step made no sound, only a faint hum, like a lullaby too old to remember. The trees here leaned inward, close and kind, as if they were listening to her breath. Along the edges of the path, small lights danced, fireflies, maybe, or dreams in disguise. As she walked, memories began to drift in, not as thoughts, but as feelings. The warmth of her mother's voice humming at bedtime, the soft scratch of a blanket on her cheek, a dream she once had of floating, weightless, through a sky full of lanterns. These memories didn't speak, but they stayed with her, like gentle hands guiding her forward. The velvet beneath her feet shimmered with every step, changing color slightly with her emotions: blue for calm, gold for curiosity, silver when she smiled. Clara didn't know where the path led, but it didn't matter anymore. For the first time in what felt like years, she wasn't trying to get anywhere, she was simply drifting. And the forest, like a mother watching her child fall asleep, carried her onward. Today, let's relax and heal together, bringing peace to your mind and body.